Hello, my name is Chris, and today I'd like to reflect on this idea that quitting smoking is not a punishment. It's a reward, it may even be a celebration if you want to look at it that way. I mentioned this in a video very briefly a couple of weeks ago, and to be honest I can't even remember what that video was or why I said that quitting smoking is not a punishment or a reward, but a reward. But I do genuinely believe that that is true, and I've spent quite a few weeks now since that video reflecting on this, and I thought it'd just be nice to kind of dive a little deeper into it and elaborate on what I mean when I say quitting smoking is not a punishment but a reward and a celebration. And it first came to my mind when I thought about the quit smoking process, which for some of us can be tough. Not for all of us. Some people find quitting smoking easy, relatively easy, or at least manageable. Some people find it hard, difficult, and an absolute challenge. And I feel like it's those people who find it more of a challenge that are drawn to my videos, that spend time in the Finding Freedom group. I may be wrong on that, but I think that's the case. And when we're going through this process, when the cravings kick in, when the withdrawals kick in, when the quitter's flu kicks in, it can be uncomfortable, unpleasant, it can feel really, really hard for some people. And when it feels really, really hard, it's easy to get into the mindset of seeing it as some kind of punishment, or like this is the penance that we have to serve for a decision that we made in the past. I made this decision to pollute my lungs, to shorten my life. I made these decisions to do all these terrible things to my body through smoking. And now that I've decided to quit, now it's time to be punished for that as I go through all this unpleasantness. Some of us even make quitting smoking harder than it needs to be and punish ourselves for no reason. It wouldn't be the first time that I've seen in the comments of some of my videos people saying, I'm quitting smoking, but I've left a packet of cigarettes and a lighter in my kitchen drawer just to prove to myself that I don't need them, just to test myself, just to make this whole difficult process even harder than it already is. And I could go off on a whole tangent about, okay, you don't need to prove anything to anybody because you already know that you've got it, whatever it takes to get through challenges in your life. You already know that, because I'm willing to bet that quitting smoking isn't the first challenge you have already faced. It might be the most difficult, but at some other point in your life, something else was the most difficult challenge, and you got through that. Therefore, you can get through this. Therefore, you have nothing to prove. But let's park that for a minute and get back to this idea of a punishment. We see it as, I have to serve this penance now. This is what I have to go through for the things that I have done to my body. As if we're being punished for a decision that we made long ago. And that's not the case. We don't need to be punished for that decision. This isn't something of, God, that was a really stupid thing to do. God, that was bad. God, that was dumb. God, that was weak. By which we can infer, well, therefore I'm stupid, bad and weak. It's not true. At some point in our lives, we all genuinely believed that smoking served a purpose, and I am no exception to that. I don't think any of us looked at a cigarette and went, this serves no purpose, this is going to do me no good, this is going to damage me, this is nothing, but I'm going to do it anyway. I think at some point the majority of us will have looked at a cigarette and said, this helps me to relieve stress, this helps me to fit in, this helps me to do this, to do that. At some point we genuinely genuinely believed that smoking served some kind of purpose and made a decision based on that. And I don't think that we need to be punished for that. Whatever was going on in our lives at that time, we made a decision that felt like the best decision we could make. We can forgive ourselves for that decision and realizing that right now we are not being punished for that decision. We are being rewarded for another decision that we made to quit. We are being rewarded for saying, actually, I recognize now that this no longer serves me, so I'm going to stop. We are being rewarded for recognizing our own self-worth, for recognizing, actually, I deserve better than to be choked and poisoned and polluted and slowly killed and pay for the privilege. We are being rewarded for recognizing that we are worthy of our freedom and our health. And this to me is important because it can help make the process manageable. I'm not saying that if you view quitting smoking as a reward, the next time a craving kicks in, you're going to be like, yeah baby, got those cravings, and like loving them. Like, that's not going to happen, right? Also, I promise never to do that ever again. You know, it's not that craving is still going to be unpleasant. It's still going to be uncomfortable, but psychologically, mentally, we can recognize, okay, this sucks. But what's happening right now as I'm going through these withdrawals and cravings is my body cleaning, healing, repairing, breaking that chain of addiction to the nicotine. This is a healthy, good part of the process that I can see as a reward. And on the other side of this, I'm going to get all those other rewards. I'm going to get the freedom, I'm going to get the health, I'm going to get the happiness. You know, I use this approach. I talked a few times about something I came up with that I always called the purge, where if I would get a craving, I'd, you know, feel that tension in my body, and I'd just imagine that what was happening was this feeling was all the poison kind of traveling through my body, reaching the points where I felt the most tension in my body, which was usually my fingers, and imagine it all kind of evaporating out. It still felt unpleasant, it still felt uncomfortable, but I could reframe it from, this feels unpleasant and is bad for me and is a punishment and is something that is bad, I'm kind of repeating myself now, something that is no good for me, to, yeah, this sucks, but it's only temporary and it's actually a good thing. You know, it's like if I, you know, go to the gym and lift weights, it's hard, it puts pressure on me, it's uncomfortable, but it's part of a bigger process that is ultimately good for me. The same with quitting smoking. And I also said at the start of this video that quitting smoking can be a celebration. And quitting smoking can be a celebration in so many ways. Like I said so many times before, the second we stop smoking, the second we put that last cigarette down, our bodies instantly get to work on cleaning, healing and repairing themselves. That to me is worth celebrating. I made a video ages ago about, you know, when I first quit smoking, I was in my early 30s and I had the lung capacity of a man in his late 50s. And it didn't take very long, you know, a few months later, I had my lungs tested again and I had the lung capacity of someone, you know, I was in my early 30s, it was more like someone in my late 30s, which is way better. That tells me that this body of mine is amazing. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily look amazing, but internally it's amazing, and that is worth celebrating. It's worth celebrating the fact that we've got all the things within us that we need to quit smoking. We get through one craving. That is worth celebrating. Because for some of us, if we smoked for so long, we might not even recognize cravings because we've never given ourselves the opportunity to have one. We just smoke. So a craving is something new. And we get through it. That is worth celebrating. Getting to the end of one day or whatever your milestone may be and going, yeah, I did that. And because I've done this, I can do anything that I want to do with my life now. That is worth celebrating. And before I finish, I want to, just emphasize this point that quitting smoking is not a punishment for being who you are or who you were. By what I mean by that is there's sometimes this idea that if you are striving to achieve a goal, that it means that you don't feel like you are whole or complete or worthy of worthy of acceptance, and that you are only worthy of acceptance if you achieve the goal. And that's just not the case. You and me, we are both acceptable exactly as we are, regardless as to what we do. When I smoked, I was every bit as acceptable as I am as a non-smoker. When I drank, I was every bit as acceptable as I am as a non-drinker. Maybe not to certain parts of society, but to myself, my self-worth is not based on what I do. Quitting smoking is not about making up for a lack of. It's not like I won't be complete, I won't be worthy, I won't be acceptable, I won't be capable of being loved until I quit smoking. It's just not the case. You are acceptable and worthy as you are. And so am I. So quitting smoking is about completing something that is incomplete. Quitting smoking is about rewarding ourselves for realizing, yeah, I'm acceptable and I don't need to be punished and I don't need to go through this systematic self-abuse of choking myself because I'm worthy just as I am. I hope that's been helpful. I hope that has at very least given you something to think about. This is one of those rare videos where I don't make any notes beforehand. I just kind of turn the camera on and trust that whatever comes out of my mouth is what I need to be saying at this time. So if it's been a little all over the place, I do apologise, but I feel like I've said what I wanted to say today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really glad that you decided to check out this video. If you like this video, you like some of the other stuff I talk about on my channel, you can subscribe, and you can also buy my book. It's called Quit Smoking and Be Happy, available in print and ebook form. And as always, if you already have the book and you wouldn't mind taking a minute to leave a review on Amazon, I would be very, very grateful. Before I go, just to very quickly mention the Finding Freedom Facebook group, where there is a wonderful community of people at all stages of their quit, supporting each other, celebrating each other's achievements and helping each other out when things aren't going so well. And if you enjoyed the live stream that we did this past Saturday, there will be another one, but my brain has gone completely blank and I can't remember when it is. Basically, it's the last Saturday in May. I will put the details of that together. You will find a link to that on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Chris Scoyles, and on the YouTube community tab. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye.